Crowd freezes as boy sings Hotel California, then can't stop crying loudly, crying face musical notes glowing star. The school auditorium buzzed with restless chatter as parents, teachers, and students filled the rows for the annual talent show. Most were there to support their own children, clapping politely for acts of juggling, piano pieces, and dance routines. But in the shadows behind the stage curtain stood 14-year-old Ethan, clutching a borrowed guitar so tightly his knuckles turned white. His oversized hoodie hung loose on his skinny frame, and his shoes were scuffed, nearly falling apart. Ethan wasn't supposed to be on the list of performers at all, but his English teacher, Mrs. Turner, had convinced him to sign up after catching him quietly strumming the old guitar in the library weeks before. Ethan had been invisible most of his life. His father left when he was a toddler, and his mother worked 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. At school, Ethan never joined clubs, never spoke up in class, and never looked people in the eyes. He walked the halls like a shadow. But music, especially the haunting chords of old rock classics, was his secret refuge. Late at night, when the house was silent, he'd play softly in his room, teaching himself songs from scratch, dreaming of stages he thought he'd never stand on. Now, standing behind the curtain, that dream felt like a nightmare. His heart pounded so loudly he was sure the audience could hear it. When the MC called his name, next up, Ethan Miller with a guitar performance. The applause was polite, a filler between bigger acts. Ethan shuffled onto the stage, shoulders hunched, eyes glued to the floor. A few whispers echoed in the audience, most people hadn't even noticed him before. He adjusted the strap, strummed a shaky chord, and then began. The opening notes of Hotel California rang through the auditorium. At first, the crowd barely reacted. They were expecting another hesitant student performance. But then Ethan's voice joined the guitar. It was soft, almost fragile, but there was something in it that silenced the room. His tone carried a raw, aching beauty, every lyric tinged with emotion far deeper than his years. It wasn't just a song, it was a confession, a window into a boy's soul. One by one, the audience members leaned forward. The restless chatter died completely. Parents stopped checking their phones, kids stopped whispering, even the teachers froze. The haunting chorus of Hotel California filled the room, and it felt as if time itself had paused. Halfway through the performance, something happened Ethan hadn't expected. As he sang, memories of his life flooded in, the lonely nights waiting for his mom to come home, the silence at the dinner table, the way he felt invisible in a world that never seemed to notice. His voice trembled, but he kept going, pouring his entire heart into each word. By the final verse, tears blurred his vision. His voice cracked, but instead of faltering, it carried more power, more honesty. When the last note faded, Ethan dropped his head, unable to stop the tears streaming down his face. His shoulders shook as he clutched the guitar like a lifeline. For a moment, silence hung in the air. Then, suddenly, the entire auditorium erupted. The applause was thunderous, cheers, whistles, even people standing to their feet. It wasn't polite applause anymore, it was raw, emotional, and overwhelming. Ethan lifted his eyes, stunned. He had never seen so many people looking at him, not with indifference, but with admiration, respect, even love. Mrs. Turner was crying in the front row. She mouthed, "You did it." But the most unexpected thing came when the principal stepped onto the stage. He placed a hand gently on Ethan's shoulder and whispered, "You've just reminded all of us what music is supposed to do, make us feel." The crowd cheered louder. Ethan, still trembling, whispered into the microphone, "I didn't think anyone would care if I sang. I just wanted to be heard." His voice broke. From somewhere in the crowd, a man's voice called out, "We hear you, son." And then others joined in, clapping, shouting words of encouragement, filling the boy's emptiness with something he had longed for his entire life, belonging. After the show, students who had never spoken to Ethan came up to pat him on the back. Parents shook his hand. One man offered to donate a brand new guitar. And when Ethan's mother, still in her waitress uniform, rushed in breathless from work, she was stunned to see her son surrounded by people, his face glowing with a mix of tears and joy. She hugged him tightly, whispering, "I've always been proud of you. Now the world sees what I see." That night changed Ethan's life. He wasn't invisible anymore. He discovered that vulnerability, the very thing he feared, was what made his music powerful. People remembered not just the song, but the honesty of a boy who sang through his tears. Years later, Ethan would go on to share his music far beyond the walls of that small school auditorium. But he always said it wasn't fame or applause that mattered most, it was the moment he realized that being heard, truly heard, could heal a broken heart. And for everyone in that audience, the night Ethan sang Hotel California became a reminder of something greater, that behind every quiet soul is a story waiting to be told, and sometimes, all it takes is kindness, a little courage, and the power of music to bring it to life.